What's good, Lazy Daze family? Welcome back to another reaction for you guys today. Sorry about the delay in post, but we're getting back into it. We're doing a binge. Couple bits been happening. We have got the American Revolution, Battle of Bunker Hill and Siege of Boston. If you're enjoying this, you know what you need to do. Like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and of course go over to Epic History channel. That link's in the description box down below so you can watch their content for yourself, and stay to the end of the video to see if I can answer 6 questions regarding this video and retain some of the information. But let's go.
April 1775. A British ship carries an urgent message across the Atlantic to the American colonies.
Saying
Britain's
what?
Parliament has passed a conciliatory resolution.
Okay.
A last-ditch effort by Prime Minister Lord North to avert conflict with the colonies. Now
What
that
does it
resolution
say?
is en route to America. It is a 6-week voyage. By the time it arrives,
Is
the
it too late?
shooting has started.
Yeah, it's
at
way too late.
Lexington and Concord.
Of course, we
Blood
covered that
has
in the
been
last
spilled.
episode.
The war has begun. Lord North's conciliatory resolution is met with defiance in colonial assemblies and the Continental Congress.
Yeah, it's too late. Blood has been shed.
Its terms, which do not concede Parliament's right to tax the colonies, offer far too little, too late.
What are the other ones? Colonies must contribute to the cost of common defence. Colonies must cover the cost of the royal government and administration. Colonies must raise additional taxes subject to the parliamentary approval. And they still choose it. So yeah, it's just saying nothing. We're not going to do anything, right?
The reply from Congress, written by Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, John Adams, and Richard Henry Lee, is a litany of
Some big
unredressed
names.
grievances.
Of course, we didn't try and resolve it at all.
Coercive acts, the Quebec Act, Vice Admiralty courts. The list goes on.
Okay, boys.
Negotiations are faltering, with fatal consequences. The fighting will continue and is about to reach bloody new heights.
And of course it is fatal because of the amount of lives lost, but was it fatal for the American colonies? They got to separate from us. The American Revolution, Part 3. Alright, let's go Epic History. These followers may say we won't fight, but heaven, I hope I shall die upon to my knees in blood.
June 1775. The main British force in America is in Boston, commanded by General Thomas Gage.
Okay.
He has been reinforced to 6,000 regulars.
It's not enough though, is it really?
But he is besieged by 15,000 New England militia. These men are highly motivated and have proven capable in combat, but they lack discipline and ammunition.
Ah, so the supplies are just super low.
Prior to the arrival of their new commander-in-chief, George Washington, they are under the command of Artemus Ward, a sickly 47-year-old militia officer of limited experience.
Okay, and he just fumbles the bag until
Nevertheless,
Washington gets there.
under his direction, the militia
Ooh.
have fortified the heights overlooking the Charlestown Peninsula.
Okay.
From these positions, cannon could target British ships in Boston's inner harbour.
Ooh, that is a good strategic point.
General
Okay,
Gage
nice.
decides he must eliminate this threat and decides to seize the heights as a step to breaking the siege. It will be an opportunity not only to avenge British honour, tarnished by the shambolic retreat from Concord.
It was a bad one.
As General Burgoyne points out, it will also allay any doubt
that trained troops are invincible against any numbers or any position of undisciplined rabble.
Strong statement, but is it true? How does he do?
Gage
I like this
orders
animation,
Major
you know.
General William Howe to make a frontal assault on Breed's Hill with 2,500 men.
Okay, William Howe.
They are
you
supported
do?
by naval ships, a floating battery of mortars, and cannon from Copp's Hill.
Ooh. So you have the artillery as well, boys.
But the attack does not go to plan. Protected behind fences and earthworks, the undisciplined rabble
First stages of
pours
trench
a
warfare, boys.
devastating close-range fire into the British ranks.
Yeah, just super defended.
General Howe orders a second attack.
Surely you're going to wait until the artillery has weakened the point enough for you to then make your attack. I don't understand why he's attacking now. Like, surely you would have waited a day as well, bombarded them for a whole day, and then maybe have made your attack, right? Or is that just giving the position away? No, because that's giving the position away. They've got more support back line, so they could actually return it. So you actually need to swiftly take it. Take everything I said back. But maybe not a day, but I'd definitely wait a few hours. Maybe not hours. I think I'd wait a couple hours, bombard the position, wait until it was a bit like, but before I even make my first assault. But yeah, maybe there's something I'm missing.
It meets the same bloody repulse. Hundreds of regulars fall. Some British units lose half their men or more.
That's massive.
Spurred
And
on
it's just-
by the leadership
It's also just not going to do anything for the morale of the military, commanders, and also the general public that is in the Boston, I believe, the Boston area.
of John Stark,
Is it Boston?
James Reed, and Joseph Warren. The Patriot militia are holding their ground,
They're doing well.
but they are running out of ammunition. The chain of command has broken down amid the chaos of battle.
And if you know they've got like a minimal amount of ammunition, maybe instead of doing a full frontal charge, you would make it so that it was guerrillas, small groups trying to take as little casualty as possible, but trying to make them use their ammo as much as possible, but for wasted use, right?
Hundreds of reinforcements mill about in confusion on Bunker Hill, while their comrades fight for their lives. When Howe launches a third attack on Breed's Hill, the militia finally break in the face
Okay.
of British bayonets.
Okay. Alright, so it's worked. It's
The Redcoats'
it's paid
fury
off.
as they storm the redoubt is terrible.
Just
A British
vengeance,
lieutenant
right?
is shocked by the slaughter.
Just vengeance.
I cannot pretend to describe the horror of the scene. It was streaming with blood and strewed with dead and dying men. The soldiers stabbing some and dashing out the brains of others was a sight too dreadful for me to dwell any longer on.
The British
Yeah,
take
it'd be
the heights,
horrifying to watch.
but are in no condition to follow up their success.
So not even to take Bunker Hill, right?
In what becomes known as the Battle of Bunker Hill, they have lost 200 dead and more than 800 wounded.
Out of, was it a 2,000
By
force?
contrast, Patriot casualties are around 450, but include the charismatic Joseph Warren, president of the Massachusetts Provincial Congress,
Shit.
a commissioned
So that's a key
officer
figure.
who'd insisted on
So, yeah, they took less casualties, which is good for the tactical position, but they also lost a general, which is a big hit, I'm assuming, and a political figure, so also morale.
Congress. A commissioned officer who'd insisted on fighting as a private soldier, he was shot down in the redoubt during the final assault,
Brave,
becoming a
honourable
martyr
man.
to the cause.
but it's going to happen when you choose to fight on the front line, man.
For the Patriots,
Martined
the
himself for
battle,
good.
though a defeat, is a major morale boost.
Okay.
They have stood their ground against British redcoats and tested them to the limit.
Push them.
For the
and
British,
come out better off.
it is a lesson learned. The rebels' determination and fighting spirit must be taken seriously. As General Sir Henry Clinton remarks.
Okay.
A few more such victories would have shortly put an end to British dominion in America.
They will not make the same mistake again.
Is that true though? We know the outcome. Many of our subjects in North America, misled by dangerous and ill-designed men, have at length proceeded to open.
That summer, British authority across the 13 colonies begins to disintegrate. The governors of North and South Carolina, Virginia, New York, and New Hampshire have all been forced to flee their homes. Others resign, while in Connecticut, John Trumbull sides with the Patriots.
So he swapped.
Only in New Jersey and Georgia do British-appointed governors retain any control.
I wonder how they do that.
The
What
British have
force do they
barely any
use?
troops in America outside of Boston,
Okay.
a fact which is underscored when frontiersman Ethan Allen leads a band of New Hampshire militia to storm Fort Ticonderoga, held by a skeleton force of just 48 redcoats.
Interesting. Okay, so the frontier leader, is that because they're like on the edge of the lines and like need to be able to attack or defend against the Native Americans? And then also only 48 men but 59 guns. What type of guns are they? Like, does that include cannons and things like that?
The so-called Gibraltar of North America falls without a shot fired,
Of course.
and the rebels seize 59 heavy guns from its arsenal.
All of them are cannons. What other ammunition do they have there as well? And what happens to the troops?
Yet even now, there are those on both sides who seek a peaceful way out of the crisis.
Interesting. And who are
Moderates,
those? What sides are
like
those?
John Dickinson of Pennsylvania,
Dickinson.
believe the colonies are too divided among themselves to survive without British protection.
Of course.
He foresees
A multitude of commonwealths, crimes, and calamities. Centuries of mutual jealousies, hatreds, wars of devastation. Till at last the exhausted provinces shall sink into slavery under the yoke of some fortunate conqueror.
So he's basically saying, like, if we have this war, they'll then be divided and then someone can just come over and conquer us, right? Is that what he's saying?
some cling to a belief that King George III is sympathetic to their cause, but has been led astray by his dishonest and corrupt ministers.
Well, he's not said a thing. He's not shown
In
it
July,
once.
at Dickinson's urging, the Second Continental Congress sends a new petition to the king.
They are trying, you know.
We solemnly assure your majesty that we most ardently desire the former harmony between Great Britain and these colonies may be restored.
Okay.
Your majesty's ministers, persevering in their measures and proceeding to open hostilities for enforcing them, have compelled us to arm in our own defense.
Interesting.
We therefore beseech your majesty to settle peace through every part of your dominions, with all humility, submitting to your majesty's wise consideration.
They're using their words carefully. What's his response this
It
time?
becomes known as the Olive Branch Petition,
Okay.
but it is beaten to London by news and maimed British soldiers from Bunker Hill.
Of course.
In
Of course
August,
it would have set out
George
earlier.
III declares his American colonies to be in open rebellion. The British Empire begins to assemble its might, to reclaim the colonies by force.
Ooh, it's too late. You brought the whole force onto you. His Excellency, General Washington, has arrived among us, universally admired for why there was visibly on every continent.
On the 2nd of July, 1775, General George Washington arrives outside Boston to take command of the newly christened Continental Army.
Okay, I'm assuming it's going to change everything, right?
Until recently, he'd been living a relatively quiet life as a Virginia plantation owner and local representative. But his military experience from the French and Indian War, serving as a lieutenant colonel of militia, exceeds that of nearly any other American-born officer. Through an advantageous marriage to Martha Custis, he is also one of the richest men in America, with a natural air of authority.
I didn't know that part. So where did Martha Curtis Mary, where did her side of the family get their money from as well?
With a natural air of authority. Dr. Benjamin Rush, a congressional delegate from Pennsylvania, observes,
"He has so much martial dignity in his deportment that you would distinguish him to be a general and a soldier from among 10,000 people."
But is that just because of the experience he had compared to everyone
arrival,
else?
Washington
They were just
discovers
in
the
awe of
Continental Army to be in a deplorable state.
What, just lack of
Many
supplies and
soldiers
resources?
lack proper muskets, and ammunition remains in critically short supply. There are few cannon, or even uniforms. Supply and logistics are in shambles. Discipline is virtually non-existent. The camp is a jumble of tents, ill-placed latrines, and unfinished earthworks. Officers fraternize with their men, who simply come and go as they please. Washington is aghast.
It's so funny. It's so funny that the force is like this. They're so disorganized, and the British Empire couldn't take advantage of it at the time. Because, yeah, that's an absolute shambles. You imagine trying to keep this organised and this much. Washington's got a feat. I'm really looking forward to seeing how he changes this up.
Immediately gets to work. Officers are given sashes or cockades to distinguish them from their men.
Interesting. Okay.
Severe punishments are introduced for desertion, fighting, and even swearing. Crucially, Washington orders his men be inoculated for smallpox, which has erupted across Massachusetts.
Okay.
This practice, also used by the British, may have saved his army from destruction.
Nice.
The Continental Congress
Big
has
feats.
appointed several generals to serve under Washington's overall command, for a mix of practical, military, and political reasons.
And who are those generals?
Some will win fame, others infamy, in the years ahead.
Okay.
Nathaniel Greene, a young Rhode Island Quaker, who's educated himself in the art of war. He will become a close friend of Washington and his most able commander.
Okay.
Charles Lee, an irascible and arrogant career soldier, disillusioned with the mother country. He is arguably the most experienced officer in the colonies, and Washington's second in command.
But he is short-tempered.
Israel Putnam, a veteran soldier from Connecticut, nicknamed Old Put. He served with distinction in the French and Indian War, and more recently at Bunker Hill.
Okay.
John Sullivan, an aggressive New Hampshire officer who had previously served in the Continental Congress. Horatio Gates, another disillusioned British officer, capable but privately contemptuous of Washington. These men and their officers
ambitious.
must now pull together an unruly army summoned from across the colonies. from independent-minded New Englanders to equally stubborn riflemen from Virginia and Pennsylvania. Each man with more instinctive loyalty to his colony than to any shared cause.
Interesting.
However, Washington's greatest concern is a lack of gunpowder.
Just before we get onto that subject, I'm wondering how he turns the colonies into a united colony. You know, at the moment they're all sort of independent states, but I'm sure that during this war there's going to be a sense of we are Americans, right?
There's enough for each man to fire just 9 rounds.
Is that it?
This, together with the challenges
Whole
of supply
board.
and discipline, means he can do little more than hold the fortifications around Boston.
And we don't know that. If we just made a push.
Fortunately for the Continental Army, the British have problems of their own.
Oh, okay.
Boston is riddled with smallpox.
Fuck.
Most British soldiers have been inoculated or exposed to the disease, though some still fall sick. Bostonians themselves suffer much more greatly.
10 to 30 dead every day.
Of greater concern, now they are bottled up in Boston, is that British supply lines now stretch more than 3,000 miles back across the
Only by
Atlantic
sea.
to Britain.
Yeah, that's a rough one.
British ships are now vulnerable to American privateers and the first vessels of a fledgling continental navy.
So the
The supply
Americans are going to
situation in
start.
Boston becomes critical, with starvation
So I'm assuming the Americans are going to start like smuggling, and that's how they get their naval force, right?
a growing fear.
Oh, they're just blockading.
That the
Oh,
British
okay.
find themselves in this predicament is widely blamed on General Gage's leadership.
Not done well
He is
at all.
recalled to London, and command passes to General William Howe.
Okay, you've done.
But under the present circumstances,
He done like okay on the Bunker Hill battle. So like, is it really worth giving it to him?
there is little he can do
Yeah.
to change British fortunes.
But it's nerve-wracking. Anything could happen at any moment. If that man is not crushed before
As the siege of Boston
Bears.
drags on,
Talk-
in Virginia, Governor Lord Dunmore holes up in Norfolk under the protection of Royal Navy warships.
That's how he's keeping these in place.
From here, he comes up with a plan to crush the rebellion in Virginia. Across the southern colonies, roughly half the population are enslaved black men,
Yep.
women, and children.
We covered that
Most
in the
work on
first episode, right?
plantations, where they are treated with appalling brutality. As a result, the white population's greatest fear is a mass slave revolt.
And is he going to try and
In
trigger
November
that?
1775, Lord Dunmore attempts to turn this fear into reality.
That's just gonna... I don't know if that's a smart move. You're just gonna... You're trying to deal with one problem by creating another problem, right? Because let's say... Obviously, I should word this very correctly. It's good for the slaves. For any slave, that would be good. But for the British Empire at this point in time, with the mindset that they have, I think that's an incorrect move. Because once you deal with the revolution of the colonies, you then got to deal with the revolution of the slaves. Do you know what I mean? Unless you want to abolish that, then that's all good. That's sweet. That's God. I'm all for it. But yeah, I don't know if that's what they're willing to do. So they're just going to have to... They're creating one problem with another... They're dealing with one problem by creating another problem. I don't think it's a
I do
smart
require every person capable of bearing arms to resort to His Majesty's standard, or be looked upon as traitors. And I do hereby farther declare all indented servants, Negroes, or others, free, that are able and willing to bear arms, they joining His Majesty's troops as soon as may be.
how many people flock to their cause.
It is a direct appeal to Virginia's slaves. Freedom for those who take up arms against their rebel masters.
Now the question is though, how many plantation owners are on the Majesty side compared to the American side, and are they going to have to run to join up? Are they going to have to risk their life? Because that changes things. If they're able to just walk and sign up, it might get a few people. But if they're going to have to like rebel or risk their life because they're not allowed to leave their plantation because the horrible owner obviously wants to make the most profit and not lose his money, then obviously that's going to be a problem. So you're just going to be pissing more people off, right? I don't think this is a good idea at all.
Nothing could be more incendiary. Few patriots consider the cause of liberty to extend to enslaved black Americans. And in the South, Dunmore's proclamation threatens the destruction of the entire economy and society itself. Without irony, patriots condemn Dunmore's promise of freedom as a violation of all law, justice, and humanity.
Which is definitely not. It's the opposite. Do you know what I mean? He's making people free.
To
I knew he was
Washington,
going to piss people off.
he is the arch traitor to the rights of humanity.
This is a joke. It's an absolute joke.
Within a month, 300 escaped slaves have reached Dunmore's base in Norfolk, where they form the new Royal Ethiopian Regiment. Thousands more will seek freedom behind the British lines before the war is over. The price of Dunmore's proclamation is to turn southern landowners into mortal enemies of the British cause. Norfolk is a loyalist stronghold, but unable to secure supplies for his forces, Dunmore decides to abandon it.
And take his forces
In the
away,
process, on New Year's Day 1776, Norfolk burns to the ground. Both sides blame the other.
right? Interesting.
It is
That's interesting. I wonder, who do you guys think done it? Let me know in the comments
the
box.
largest, but not the last, settlement to be destroyed in the war.
Shit. Peter are good generals who has a greater burden on his shoulders and more difficulties to struggle with than I think to be sure
That winter,
so good a
the
man.
standoff continues at Boston,
We're
with
in winter.
conditions deteriorating for
Sorry, pause it again. I'm really liking the animations and everything Epic History has done. I'm liking the text they've got, how it's all frosted. If you haven't checked their stuff out, go over to their channel. Links in the description box down below. Amazing
both
content,
sides.
man.
life in the American camp is miserable.
It's going to be because they're
We have
outside in
suffered
the
prodigiously for
elements.
want of wood. Many regiments have been obliged to eat their provisions raw for want of firing to cook.
Nuts.
And notwithstanding, we have burned up all the fences and cut down all the trees for a mile around the camp. Our suffering has been inconceivable.
This is only going to gain more resentment against
The
the
only
British Empire,
good
though,
news
right?
comes at sea, where American privateers continue to intercept British ships carrying food and supplies. On the 29th of November, they score their biggest prize yet, the brig Nancy, carrying 2,000 muskets and ammunition.
That's going to help their cause. But the only problem with it is it's doing well at the moment because it's not the full fleet of the Empire, of the British Empire, right? We're building up a massive force and that's coming over very shortly. These are just little supplies that are coming to hold off until that moment.
But Washington faces another looming crisis. Most of his men have signed up to fight only until the end of 1775.
Interesting.
And given the conditions, few plan to stay any longer.
Of course.
December brings heavy snow and the expiry of the first enlistments. Despite the pleading, threats, and curses of their officers, almost half of Washington's men pack up and march for home.
Now, do we make use of this and charge?
They
Surely,
take with
right?
them not only their muskets and equipment, but their hard-won experience. Washington is distraught. By January 1776, his force has been reduced to less than half its summer peak.
Shit.
There are now just 9,000 men under his command.
That's not good. The British Empire need to take action
But
now.
General Howe's forces
Can't
are
do
not
anything.
in much better shape. The British are even considering evacuating Boston. Then, later that month, shocking news arrives in the American camp, carried in pamphlets and letters.
What's it say?
King George III has addressed Parliament on the subject of America.
And declared war?
From the King's own lips, the Patriots hear their cause condemned as a desperate conspiracy, whose ideas are repugnant to the true constitution of the colonies. He lays all blame for the conflict on the Americans. He promises an overwhelming military response.
So is this scare?
In
Is
that
this going to
moment,
fuck the morale
The
up?
Patriots' last lingering hopes of reconciliation die.
Or is this going to rile them up to come and
To
enforce
Americans
Washington?
like General Nathaniel Greene, it's nothing short of betrayal.
Heaven hath decreed that tottering empire Britain to irretrievable ruin. And thanks to God, since Providence hath so determined, America must raise an empire of permanent duration, supported upon the grand pillars of truth, freedom, and religion, encouraged by the smiles of justice, and defended by her own patriotic sons.
Okay. They definitely did
Washington,
do something similar
it's
to that,
the
didn't
final
they?
nail in the coffin of relations with Great Britain.
We are determined to shake off all connections with a state so unjust and unnatural. This I would tell them, not undercovered, but in words as clear as the sun in its meridian brightness.
Until
Okay.
now, many patriots have shied away from calls for independence. But the mood has changed. The King's open hostility, the provocations of Lord Dunmore, the blood shed
They're
at
just
Bunker Hill.
Going to get riled up and justified
Only
in
a
their
full
actions.
break from Britain will answer.
Nice.
But Britain is preparing to fight back.
This is what I mean. The full fleet of Her Majesty. What? Her King's? Oh no.
Do you
His
enjoy epic
Majesty's
history videos?
fleet is coming. Fuck's sake. I'm a metal. Mel, you know what I'm. Do you know what? Let's get into the questions. Some questions. Okay. First question, easy. What was the name of the major battle fought in June 1975 on Breed's Hill? That was the Bunker Hill battle, right? I think that's my answer. I'm going to go Bunker Hill. Bunker Hill here. We'll see if that's correct or not in the editing. I'm not 100% sure. And then it's going to be who become Commander-in-Chief of the Continental Army in July 1775. I believe that was George Washington. Boom! George Washington. I might be wrong, I might be correct, but it is there. Again, let me know, guys, if you want me to keep doing the easy, medium, hard, or if I should go medium, hard, and extra hard. But let me know, and let me know how well you're doing on the on these questions as well. All right, next one on the mediums. Why did Britain attack Breed's Hill during the siege of Boston. What it was they got a defensive position on Bunker Hill that was able to send cannons into attacking the fleet and attacking the city, which was going to disrupt their possible supply lines. So it was a key strategic position that they would need to take to stop that from happening. That's going to be my answer there. Boom, there you go. Why was the capture of Fort Trinacogorag, I can't pronounce that word, but it's there, important to the Patriots' cause? I believe that was the fort with 42 men and 59 guns, right? And it was led by the frontier guy. And that was important because it had all the ammunition and stuff like that. So it was just a position that they would be able to get 59 guns, or I think it was 59 or 52, but those guns, and also just helping with morale. That's going to be my answer there. All right. Next one's hard question. All right. What was the name of the brig captured by the American privateers carrying 2,000 muskets and ammunition? That was Nancy. It was Brig Nancy, I believe. That's going to be my answer there. I think that's correct. Again, let me know how well you guys are doing. And then, by January 1776, approximately how many men remained in Washington's army after many enlistments expired? It got reduced down to 9,000 men due to the contracts going, and it will be a winter. I think that was the thing. So again, let me know how well you think I done. And yeah, in the comments down below. But let's get to the outro. If you enjoyed that video, guys, you know what you need to do. You need to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and I will catch you in the next video.